I don't have a better replacement mic right now than
Rugged by the mic.
what's that?
Rugged by the mic.
Read by the mic. Yeah. How are you this morning?
Oh, pretty good. Have been having a very busy last couple of days working on some dev stuff, doing some coding.
Nice. Shipping as usual.
Yeah, trying to get something out for you guys.
Ooh, I know you were alluding to that yesterday also.
Yeah, I think December is going to be a big month. October was big. November was a little bit quiet, and then December is going to be huge.
I'm good with that. So this I see hardcore. I know you were running a little behind this morning. Yeah, is there a mirror board that we can run off of? Otherwise, I got everything opened up here so we can run through it. We got basically for the schedule today, we'll do our regular proposal review, maybe 5-10 minutes. We got Mikey J with the Forge update and just hear about what he has to say about, I believe, cores. We had the Aavegotchi DAO Foundation proposal that has gone through. So maybe we can have a discussion around next steps and the selection for the board members, and then we also have Yannick's kinship proposal discussion, which is now moved on to a core prop. So we can discuss that, and then as well as the ETF, we can discuss the ETF proposal as well. So we got a range of things to discuss, but we will move through them. I see Hardcore has dropped the mirror board link. Thank you, sir. Open that up. See Yannick on stage. GM,
Good evening.
how are you this evening?
All right. A little bit busy because a lot of different stuff to do, but pretty interesting times.
Indeed. Interesting. Interesting is yeah. Oh, there's a bit of echo on my mic. Yannick, why don't I let you just explain your kinship proposal, and in the meantime, while you're doing that, I'm gonna try to switch my mic on here.
My kinship proposal was in response to Dan's proposal to deduct, to change alchemic inflation roughly 85%. I propose alternative solution to. I think my solution will reduce efficient UBI alchemic inflow by 50%, but it will happen not immediately, but over some period, maybe half year to the year. It's pretty simple. The proposal is just deduct for kinship each time Gotchi is channeling altar. This change will open different game strategies based on how big is rarity farming reward chest or on market conditions. It is I try to create some
It's
like
okay.
economical models, but it's all
It's okay.
not
Don't
make
worry about
sense
it.
because
It's okay. Sorry for waking up.
market is
Sorry.
very complicated. People will decide, like you have like 1,000 people or a few thousand people in Gotchiverse, and each person will decide on his own strategy and depend on his own position. So if I would rather do it if somebody have some questions or maybe a critique of this proposal, I would happy to discuss it.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you
Um,
guys hear me better now? Do it
yeah,
sound
that
better?
does sound a little bit better. Yeah.
Okay, we'll roll with this then. Yeah, I appreciate you kind of running us through that, Yannick. And I can imagine it would be pretty difficult to model this, just because it's a kind of like you say a dynamic change, um, to the structure of how how people are petting their gachis. So I guess we could assume from this proposal that probably high kinship gachis will likely no longer be channeling, right?
Actually, it depends. If, for example, I have top 1 Gotchi and you have top 2, if top 2 Gotchi decide to channel, or sorry, let's make another example. If I have 100 Gotchis and you have 100 first, and 100 Gotchi only receive reward. So if your Gotchi are channeling, it means also I can channel also, because I still keep my 100 position in if the next one is channeling. So it really will depend on people's strategy, and if they want to take Alchemica now, or grow their multiplier over time, or and depend on what they will choose, or do it half, just to keep your, just go to 1,000 kinship and just farm on 1,000 every second day. Also a possibility. It will give you a more stable inflow. So it creates interesting strategies, not longer just press button and receive same reward.
Yeah, I'm just realizing the different levers here because the kinship multiplier is also a factor. So you may want to build your gachi up to a specific multiplier, and from that point on, just be harvesting the kinship, and keeping it at that level. That could even apply to lower kinship gachis too, where you want to get up to a certain kinship level before you were to start using it, and there's a trade-off at that point. Like the Alchemica that you're receiving has to be worth, not only the multiplier but also worth the sacrifice, like sacrificing kinship. Um, so I guess with removing kinship, we see maybe there'll be gachis channeling less or being more strategic about their channeling. What do we think about like do we see there being scenario later down the line where actually we need to be adding kinship, like we need to be adding kinship to the game either through game mechanics or potions or something like that to, if there's do you see there being like a shortage of kinship, I guess, and maybe like not many people at all are channeling? Do we see that as like a problem? Is that something that can be, just mitigated with some like or kinship event or potions or something like that?
I think it's good we have this will be dynamic, because the kinship is only resource in game which is increasing, and it's good we have, if we have sync, to burn it, because it's always you can always increase it. So I don't think you will have a shortage of it. And the more got you have, the more kinship will be in the future.
Yeah, kind of very much in line with they see Dr. Wagner's point, Hardcore's point. Ideally, kin has additional utility in the future, whether in Gachi versus other games. Yeah, exactly. I think it opens the door to new possibilities. So I'm very for this proposal. I did notice though this morning there's actually two proposals, kinship burn proposals that are in the that are on Snapshot. So we gotta just make sure we clarify this real quick here, because I see.
There's two of them.
Yeah, there's Channel Alchemica by Burning Kinship. That one's authored by Yannick.
That's the core prop, yeah. Or
I think it's because I made a mistake and didn't put the number in title.
Okay.
I see
It
the
looks like
implement
there's
original kinship mechanics, and then above that there is core prop deduct kinship. Oh, it looks like Yannick, you made your own core prop. You don't need to. You can delete that one, I guess.
Maybe
Because
mine
we added the actual AGIP 53 now.
Yeah, I see that. Okay.
So you think I
Uh,
should delete mine?
Yeah, usually only the core authors are able to make the core proposal. So yours doesn't show up as a core.
All right.
But he
All right.
gets
I can do it.
XP because he made the SIG prop, but he doesn't need you don't need to make your own core prop.
All right.
okay. Awesome. Does anyone out there have any questions regarding the kinship burn proposal? I know we were supposed to do a proposal review, but I see Yannick was already up here, so I figured we'd have a conversation about it. Does anybody have any questions regarding the kinship proposal? Is there something they might want to have clarified or something like, yeah.
I guess on implementation, I think Mikey mentioned we could do it in a way that that other games could potentially burn kin. The easy way would be to do it in a way where channeling simply just removes 4 kinship from the gotchi every time, and that's that. There's another way to implement it where we would have like the ability for other games to tap into it and have like it would almost act like an ERC20 token where you would approve the contract to spend your kinship, but that would take some more time to implement, I think.
That would be the metric of game intention. But it would be interesting. This mechanic, if we can burn kinship and transfer it to the game as ERC20.
Yeah, we'd have to think about that. If we're trying to get it quickly, then we would do it the simple way. But if we wanted this to be something potentially other games could use if they wanted, then we would have to spend a little bit more time architecting it. Would anyone from the DAO be interested in working on that? We could help review it.
They create the I'm sure we could like get a bounty or something together for that.
Unless we have like clear use case, I don't think we should implement it. But it would be interesting to think about this way. Maybe we will find use case.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to have a review of it this week while the prop is going and try and see what the workload would be. Anything dealing with kinship is a bit tricky because the subgraph, I think the subgraph is also going to need to be updated to take in the new logic, maybe, hopefully not. But that thing can take upwards of 2 to 3 weeks to sync now. It's so terrible. So anything we do will take a couple weeks, I think, on if the subgraph needs to be updated, which I hope it doesn't, but it might.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And what about there are some concerns about rarity farming, Yannick. I think we've discussed these before, but what are your thoughts on is this going to add a lot of pressure for rarity farming to have more seasons even when we're already there's a lot of pushback on having seasons already?
I don't know how I could answer this because I can speak only for myself, and what I can tell, I will is from my side. I don't think have rewards during bear market because it's will lower our survivability. So I don't think it's a good time for rewards. But I can only speak for myself. So I wouldn't vote for royalty farming rewards. But yeah, it will increase expectations probably, but it's the only downside from this proposal.
Yeah, and so I guess what you're saying is, because you're burning kinship or because there's I guess, opportunity cost with this now because you're burning kinship.
But also otherwise there will be no no interesting game in kinship. It will be same stagnation.
Yeah, we always
Yeah.
complain about stale leaderboards too, right, during rarity farming. So even if we were to have a rarity farming season, at least the leaderboards, I'm sure we could shaken up a bit.
I mean, yeah, we'll try it out and hopefully give it a couple months to see how things go. We can always, in the future, if needed, do a course correction with the DAO here. But hopefully it'll work out pretty well. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I agree. Looking forward to this change. So, um, do you have any like final comments or any questions for the DAO, Yannick or Coder Dan regarding this proposal?
Not from my side.
All right.
Nope.
Appreciate you taking the time and explaining your proposal here, and I think it's a great idea. So, thanks.
Cheers.
Next up, we have. I was gonna do a proposal review, but it looks like. I mean, it looks like everything that we're gonna be reviewing today is gonna we're gonna discuss it anyway. So I think we should just move forward and um, discuss these whatever's here in my notes. I think the next step right now we have Mikey J. If you're available, sir, we'll get you up on stage, and if you'd like to provide an update on the Forge, I believe there's something regarding cores. So if you'd like to come up here and discuss that, uh, okay, let's get you up there. GM.
GM.
Hey, sir.
Hello. So posted the other day, there was, I'm going to post again here. Forge team had been discussing this week some modifications to the core framework and the release of new cores at Forge launch. And so we, based on community feedback, we scaled back the numbers of new cores we were suggesting significantly. So I just linked the post which outlines those changes. So it goes from about a 7% or so core inflation to I think it's about 2.5% or 2.6% core inflation. So it's a large drop from what we initially proposed. And the other thing we changed was there was questions about whether or not the community wanted to have the pet slot be rarer overall than the other slots. It's a little bit of a different animal right now because right now in certain rarities, like in common, the pets are a very small proportion of the overall. But as you get to mythicals or godlights, pets are a much larger percentage of the overall portion. So we sort of then, based on community feedback, lean towards the approach of keeping pets as the rarest slot across all rarities. And again, these are just this kind of series of ratios for the DAO to use moving forward as kind of a guideline, so that when it's time to release new cores or new wearables, that it can kind of be done in such a way that there's like a plan in place so that people who are purchasing these assets can have an idea for what they can expect in terms of future rarity. And so, yeah, I think what we arrived at was about a 5% share of pet slots to all cores, which would make it the rarest slot. So have a look at that post, those changes, and we're looking for any more feedback anyone else might have on that, and we'll take it from there.
Awesome. Sorry, I'm just looking at the document right now. Right on. Do we have any questions regarding these numbers, the new core, the core framework? Hardcore, if you don't mind, just we can use this. If you can throw the link on your mirror board there just for reference, that would be great. I'm just reading the comments right now. Okay, nothing there. Appreciate you coming up here and um, giving us your weekly update. Are there any
Awesome.
other things you might that you wanted to share this morning, or was this was the update?
Yeah, I think this is the main thing we're looking for feedback on right now. There's other work going on in terms of artwork and things like that. I don't know if Dr. Wagme has more, feels that any more needs to be said on that, but work is proceeding on all fronts for sure.
Right on. Well, we appreciate all the work that the Forge team is doing, and really looking forward to this really big undertaking. It's gonna be impressive for us to all look at this at the end and say, "Wow, this was like a DAO built initiative." So really exciting.
Thanks, guys.
Hardcore. I was just saying the link there that Mikey J has for the timing and ratios for releasing new wearable cores. If you can just throw that up on the mirror board whenever you get a chance, that'd be great. Core props soon, also to launch on the Forge. Awesome. Dr. Wagme, do you want to provide more background on that right now, or do you want to wait till you actually have the prop out or drafted? Okay, cool. All right. Moving on. We got Yannick, we got Mikey J. I think the next thing up here is if you want to discuss Coder Dan, the Aavegotchi DAO Foundation proposal has passed, and I think the next steps now are the election for the board members. So
Yep.
there is a
Getting ready
proposal.
to give me one sec. I'm getting ready to put out
Okay.
this blog post here.
Okay.
Just the kind of the DAO formality here of we want to have a blog post to go along with it.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. This is for those of you that want to look at the proposal. Here's the link for that. And so, just to review, the creating Aavegotchi DAO Foundation passed overwhelmingly with 12 million ghosts worth of support, 90% for that SIG prop, and now the core prop is also out for that. 7 days left on that one. So, and we see Coder Dan, you just dropped the blog post there.
Yes, so there are 2 core props so far for the foundation. The first one is voting on whether or not we, as a DAO, want to take this step, just kind of ratifying the SIG prop about that. So that is AGIP 50, create Aavegotchi DAO Foundation. And then the next one is AGIP 51, which is the actual election for the 9 DAO Foundation directors / multi-sig signers. And there's going to be one more proposal, well, at least one more about the Constitution itself. So that will be kind of the final step. And that Constitution is still being worked on by ourselves and Roth at the moment. And so once that is in a semi-final state, we're going to put it into a Google Doc for you guys, and then everyone can write on the doc, give suggestions, ask questions. And once we have gone through a few drafts of that, we'll finally make I guess we could start with a SIG prop and then finally a core prop to get that ratified as well.
Yeah, right on. This is a really exciting step. I was speaking with Jesse on the amount of signers we have, and Aavegotchi is going to be pretty the protocol will be pretty decentralized after we have these 9 board members attached to the multi-sig. I think he was saying something like ENS only has 3, and 2 of them are the founders. So
that's right.
So like, I love how in line we'll be with decentralized, as a decentralized entity, because neither yourself or Jesse are going to be on this multi-sig. We have some pretty solid applications. Everyone that applied, you'll probably recognize from Gotchi Gang. So let's I'll where do you want to go next with this, Dan? We talked about the following proposals. You said the Constitution is going to be another one. Should we discuss the election itself? Is that the
Sure, yeah. I mean, I
yeah?
guess the election is live now and will be going for a week. So if we have some time, I guess we didn't alert anyone that there would be public discussion, but I guess if you're on the call, tuning in on your Sunday morning or afternoon or evening, it's probably a good sign. So I guess if you want to try and win some votes, might be a good time to come on the chat or say hi here in the Discord.
Yeah, I'd love to have someone up if you want to speak on, your application to the foundation. Share some thoughts on it. Maybe win some votes, like you say, if you'd like to. No pressure. But let's have a look here. If anybody has their hand raised.
There are, as the piece mentioned, there are 5 members who haven't yet made. I think they made their application through your Canny form, or the was it
The tally.
the form that the
The
tally,
tally.
but they
Yeah.
have not actually made an official post in the DAO thread, so they should do that.
Okay, I'll follow up with these. I have all these contacts, so I'll follow up with them after and get that officially done.
So here's the full list.
Yeah.
Cryptogotchi, Maxi Crouton, Maury, No Future, Donzi, PG, Michael F, Yannick, Choina, Rikiga, Fifu, Sirlinkius, Notorious BTC, and Brills. And then we have Mycalium, 0x, Z5, Zeitgeist, Mick, Abandoned Pants, and Umami. So 19 in total. Pretty good.
All solid people too. All very like OG Aavegotchi members. A lot of them that, contributed to our community one way or another. We had someone has
Oh,
their hand up.
Kokusho. I guess, did Jesse not add you to the blog post? But you are on the snapshot. Okay, let me add you.
GM, what's
Get you
going
up
on,
there
Web?
real quick.
Good morning, guys. Good morning. How's it going?
Hey, sir.
Good,
I was
good.
wondering about details for signing up for this thing. It's just on the blog post for anybody that's interested.
Which one?
Signing up for being authorizer for the DAO multi-sig.
The election. Well, the sign up period was like the last 2 weeks. So it's
I see.
unfortunately too late at this point.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense.
But I'm sure there'll be future re-elections.
Oh yeah, of
It's
course. Well, I mean, it's like probably a big responsibility, right? Just being plugged into it all the time.
I was speaking of that. I was discussing with Jesse on what these positions would be for. I know some people in the forum or in the signaling thread have expressed their interest in specific roles, like treasurer, officer, that sort of thing. But from what it sounds like, we're gonna take a kind of basic approach right now with these 9 and get these 9 voted in as board directors and then specialize as needed, right? From there.
Right.
Does
So
that
the
sound right?
kind of the first step here is we need to have this entity set up and have the multi-sig signers that are kind of docs to us, and I mean mainly to us, and then we can start sending funds to like the larger amounts of funds to the DTF than we've previously been able to do. The main impetus for this is like there's been a couple proposals that have passed, but we just don't have the signers on the DTF and have everyone doxed to a point that we can safely send those funds over without any AML kind of considerations on our side. So this is a huge step for that, in that now this multi-sig is set up that can essentially act as the whole, and then they can be dispersed by the directors when needed. It's basically a counterparty to Pixelcraft that is the actual DAO entity, which is it's a big step for us and for the community in general to have this group of 9 kind of holding some custody of the DAO funds. So later, this group of 9, these are not like they're not like the rulers of the DAO, or like they don't really have any authority over the DAO. They basically are beheld to the DAO. If the DAO says we want to do this, we want to stake some liquidity, do something, then this group will make that happen. But they're not the ones. They can't override a DAO decision. They're basically just acting on the directions that have been passed down by the DAO through the main channel. So yeah, it's not like these are the board of directors for the DAO. They're really just acting on what the DAO wants to do. Now in the future, there could be. We did talk a while back about having actual DAO leads for various, closer to having that if we want that as a DAO, because these 9 would then maybe one of them would become like a tech, or not elect, but the DAO would elect them, and then they would transfer funds or transfer authority in that way to a person who would have that authority. But none of these current 9 signers will have that authority, we have not decided on that as a DAO yet. But I do think there's coming at some point, we do need to have a little bit more management of like the DAO grants, and if we continue to push forward with the DWork board, we're gonna need to have a committee of reviewers to create tasks, create bounties, and review things. So that needs to be set up still. That has not been set up yet.
100%. I was talking to Jesse about what sort of DAO tooling we might want to use, and kind of there's only really 2 here to consider, so we can actually get this implemented, pretty quickly if we wanted to, whether we want to use DWork or Wonderverse. I'm kind of familiar with both now because we've been experimenting with these tools in GMI. So it depends on what the DAO wants. DWork is more of a simpler tool, which I think could be really good for getting adoption and getting people to use it. Wonderverse is a little bit different in that the work's assigned in pods. So it might work really well if we decide to assign work based on guilds, but so far, I think for the most part, most applicants are applying as individuals. So maybe DWork is the way to go. But I agree, we can definitely get more of that organized, and yeah, I think that'll be a natural next step after that. We also have you already mentioned the Constitution, so the legal counsel will draft and supply the first version of the Constitution, and there's a process for that. And then the entity itself is a Cayman Island Foundation. It's going to have the 9 members who are going to be all doxed. There's also going to be a bank account, right, formed under the Cayman entity for like fiat or off-chain stuff as well.
I would assume that there is a way to set up a bank. I think during the call, or with one of the calls we had with him, Ross was saying it is possible to set up the bank during the foundation setup. So I don't know exactly which bank it would be. Not totally clear on which banks service Cayman Island foundations, but there probably are some out there.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Most pay for this is 8,000 ghosts a year, paying 2,000 ghosts to each directory directly from the Treasury multisig every 90 days. And you already mentioned the executor of the DAO's wishes. I think we've covered this. So if you'd like to get your votes in here, we have all our members up on Agip 51. So go vote on that. You have 7 days. It looks like currently we only have 368K votes, but this is a fresh one, so we'll follow up on this one next week. Does anyone have any other comments or questions regarding either the DAO Foundation structure or the election for DAO Foundation directors?
Senior Future, did Ross have any opinions on the stuff Humboldt brought up regarding FBAR? I don't recall those questions. What were the exact? Was it related to the foundation having a bank account, or was it related to them being signers on a multisig? I think if it's just signers on the multisig, as far as I know, FBAR doesn't. A multisig does not count as a bank account yet. Maybe one day it will, but again, not any form of legal advice whatsoever. But yeah, I'm not totally clear on the question there. Okay.
Joyna, I haven't spoken to him about that side yet. I've been completing FBARs for years anyway. I'll be honest, I have no idea what an FBAR even is. So, do you want to explain what that is? Is that just a type of bank account? Is that what they're
FBAR is basically if so there's the bolded text here. Basically, if you have $10,000 or more in aggregate, it could be in one bank account or spread out over 100 bank accounts at any time during the calendar year abroad. So, like if you have a bank in Switzerland or Panama or wherever, you're supposed to file an FBAR if your assets exceeded $10,000 or more during the calendar year. So they have interest or signature authority. And I guess the question here is, as a multi-sig signer, does that count as signature authority, or if the DAO opened a bank account, who would be the signatory for that bank account? And yeah, the U.S. government loves to make a bunch of funny sounding names. They got the terrible. The guilty tax is really the worst one. That's if you own 10% or more of a foreign corporation. You're guilty. So terrible.
It's almost like they worked hard to make it sound that way. Oh my god.
Meanwhile, Pelosi is trading it with insider information. Still, she's fine.
There's actually there's a Twitter bot called Pelosi Stock Trades that you can follow.
Yeah, I saw that.
Get in when she gets in,
I do not know. If anyone has chatted with him about that, we'll bring it up with him on our next call. Or if anyone is in LexDAO, could be a good question to ask there in the Discord.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a great conversation with Ross last week. Some really good questions there were asked.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we can for this week we can wrap up this conversation around the DAO Foundation. Just go get your votes in. Vote on the people that you'd like to see represented on the board. So Yeah, you have 7 days for that. Let's see what we got on our agenda here next. I think we can discuss the ATF proposal, which is now the refresh proposal, so we can talk about that. I'm one of the multi-sig signers on the ATF, and so I can um, I guess I asked some of the ATF members if they could speak on this, but there's a huge time zone difference. I think even between like Jared and I is like 19 hours difference. So it's like so we're so far apart that it's probably a odd hour for those guys. So I'll go through it. We'll just briefly discuss, and I'll take any questions that you might have regarding the funds. I like that alpha, Dr. Wagner. That's awesome. That's good. We need to get the SBF. We need to get the SBF hairpiece with like little flames on it, you know?
Now we gotta have the was it eggplant that he was eating, or was it
Oh,
cucumber?
the cucumber hand wearable, yeah.
That guy is like pure evil.
I heard he was vegan just because the pills he was taking have strong effect if you eat meat. Like they would have like strong side effects. So he was. I don't know if that's exactly correlated, but it was a bit sus that he was vegan and looked. I mean, he was so out of shape, and he was also taking these pills.
People had screenshots of him on a call, and like his fridge was open. They're like, "Are those eggs? You
Yeah.
have eggs in your fridge? What's going on, bro?" All right, so let's talk about this. Creating the ATF task force. We had a proposal like this, oh, I don't know, probably 6, 7 months ago, but this is the refreshed version of that SIG prop, and this is so just to be clear, the ATF already has 100K, 100,000 ghost that's been allocated for player rewards. That's currently I believe currently being held by in the DTF multisig. Uh, I think it's the DTF multisig, or it might be its own. It's actually I think it's its own multisig. Maybe clarify that. I'm not really sure on that. But there's 100,000 ghosts already allocated for this, so they're not asking for additional funds. This is a hundred K that. Oh yes, and also the 87 fake gachi cards that they won through the raffle. So the ATF is a large holder of fake gachi cards, and they got this ghost, but not officially in their possession. So ultimately, what this SIG prop is proposing is that the 100K ghost be moved to the ATF multisig, and that these will primarily be used for player rewards, and not this won't be drawn down at once, but basically the idea here is the ATF is going to be planning events, and there's going to be stress test events and full on like XP style events. And so there's going to be different drawdowns for each one. This proposal, the amended proposal, is recommending a max drawdown of 100 ghosts per stress test game event for prizes, and a max drawdown of 500 ghosts per XP and release game event. And so these are the proposed numbers, but of course, if these rewards sound kind of low, or we need to just raise the rewards, we could always have a discussion around that. But I think these numbers are really conservative for how much they can draw down on this ghost. And not to mention, I think part of the funds will likely be staked, and we'll be generating some maybe glitter rewards. So that could also be used for rewarding players. The whole idea here with these funds being moved over for rewards is to incentivize the community to really stress test these games, and also get more engagement around Aavegotchi mini games. I guess maybe not, I shouldn't even call them mini games at this point because, like,
Yeah.
for example, I played Gotchi Miners. That one's actually officially online, so we'll be
Is it
doing a
really?
GMI. Yeah, we'll be doing a GMI showcase on a Friday night. I think they're having some infra issues with their like cluster that they're trying to run because they had different ones. They had some in North America, Australia, like around the world, so it runs properly. And I guess they're having some issues with their previous provider. But finally, it seems like they finally figured out the issue that they were having, and I was able to play a full game the other day, and it was a good time. Like they have multiplayer and everything, so it's gonna be a fun game. We want to really get some events going on around this. We'll do a showcase on Friday night with GMI, and then we'll also we'll work with the ATF and see if we can plan some event sometime soon. It'd be great to have a stress testing event and also maybe plan in the future, near future, for a like our classic arcade events that we used to have all the time. We got to bring those back. So
Yeah.
I I think this is a great way to do that, and I think what they're proposing is very conservative, and we don't have to worry about like the ghost going missing or anything because the multi-sig signers are they're trusted members of our community. Let's see if they have. Yeah, so you got 7 signers. You got Jared, Gotchinomics, Slick, PG, Shaw, Scrooger, and myself. So the transactions will require 4 out of 7 signers to be approved before any funds can be moved. And then the other part of this, which I think Dr. Wagme mentioned, was the 87 fake Gachi cards. And the idea for these fake Gachi cards is not going to be to necessarily give the cards away, but to actually burn the cards individually and mint fake Gachi artworks that could be used as prizes also in games and leaderboards. So this is going to be pretty cool. I think maybe some of the funds could potentially be used for commissions and stuff, but that's not included in this proposal. Primarily, the rewards will be used. I mean, sorry, the ghosts will be used for rewards. So, um, yeah, compensation for artists collaborating on fake gachi works will be from funding sources outside of the AGIP 1600K ghost. Sorry, that's my bad. So it'll be outside of the 100K ghost. It won't be included as part of this from this pool. Do you guys have any questions regarding the ATF proposal as it is right now? I see it has, I don't think it's met quorum yet, but it has 95% support. Do we know if the vaults voted on this yet? Because I think this was like last time, this is why it didn't go through. Is because the vault meant to vote on it, and I think they might have just forgot or something might have happened there. Yeah. Can we make sure that we actually get this pushed through quorum? Because I think that was the only issue last time. Everybody was in support of it.
Yeah. It's so close. Yeah. It's someone ping the vault if they haven't. Has anyone checked on the vault snapshot?
I have not, but I can go look after. Um,
Apparently anyone can make a proposal on the vault. So typically what they are encouraging people to do now is if you create a proposal on the main Aavegotchi one, you should also make a sister proposal. Okay, I do see it on the vault though. It's got 99.93% with 20K vault voted. It's going to end in
Okay.
3 days. So that I'm a little bit worried it's going to end in 3 days apparently, because the other one ends the main vote. When does that? Let's see when that ends.
7 days. So it will be close. Like you'll have a couple days gap there, but 7 days for this one. You said 3 days for the vault.
No, the sick prop is 3 days left. The one by Jared
Oh, what?
on.
Oh, sorry. No, I'm looking at the voting duration. I'm not looking at how many days left. Oh, okay.
So
Well,
I think let's see.
That's yeah, you're right. 3 days left, and then 3 days for the vault.
It's yeah, they end at the exact same time. Okay, Dr. Webby says we will vote in time. In the future, if
Okay,
you guys
all
make a
good.
proposal,
Yeah.
you should like schedule it to end like a day earlier on the Gotchi vault. So then they know the result before they can vote.
We'll take yeah, take Wagner's word on that. I think we're good. All right, so I'm excited for that. That'll be good. We'll get some mini games going. I think we have I don't know why I keep calling them mini games. They're not mini games. They're actually
Yeah,
full-on
they've really
games.
evolved, honestly.
Yeah. We've come a long way from the early games that were designed. Actually, some of those games were designed by people that didn't even know how to code. Like
Yeah.
they learned how through like Coyote's template and were able to piece things together. So, Yannick, you've dropped something in the chat here. This is looking interesting.
Yeah,
Do you
it's
want to provide some? Go
my
ahead.
brother is doing updates for his parcel, so it was pretty annoying. You have to calculate the price all the time and depend on what level you want, from what level to what level. It's really hard to calculate cost all the time. So he created this calculator in one day, which will you basically can choose any installation and any level range and see the cost, the total cost in Alchemica, in DAI, in Ghost. So if everybody, somebody's doing some farming or updating, it's pretty useful feature. Soon to be
Nice.
live on Fireball GG. Now you can use it with staging link if you wish to try.
Yeah, this is cool. And so, are you crafting these or upgrading these right in the like in the UI, like without going to the Gotchiverse? Is that right?
It's a
Yeah, the crafting is available without being in the Gotchiverse, actually.
yeah. We also have crafting on Fireball GG. You can interact with crafting contract through our interface. So, but interface is just this calculator is similar to Raffle calculator, but for installations.
Oh, sorry, I misunderstood. That makes sense. Okay. And so, for example, you have an example here. You have Alchemica Alter level 1 going to level 9, and it's giving you basically the cost in Alchemica's Ghost and Die, right? That's for all the altars in between.
Yes.
Yeah, awesome. Very well, very nice, sir. Let's look at where we're at here. The DAO mission and vision. We'll have that. We'll probably have something. I'll post in the forum here in the next couple days. We got, I think, 8 responses on the forum. They're all really thoughtful responses. There's still a working group if you'd like to participate, but I think at this point, everybody who's put their hand up, I think there's 8 members, so you're still welcome to join if you would like to. But we're getting close to just drafting the final version of this, and we'll have something out for next DAO meeting. I wanted to touch on the respec potion because this was I think it was a core prop that passed a while ago, and uh, Marvin P, or I can't remember his other name that he goes by. He drafted up the technical, like the tech spec document for it. Tommy Gotchi, that's right. Oh, Gotchi 15. I'll get you in there. My bad. I'll get you in there as well. I'll get you in the working group. Yeah, exactly. Tommy Gotchi did the spec sheet for the respec potion. So I think we can probably get a DAO bounty together for it, and then issue some work to whoever would be interested in actually building out the smart contract function for that. And also, we'll probably need someone to create the just a uh, like the artwork for the respect potion. But I can get bounty together for that. And if you are already interested in create like building out the respect potion, just reach out to me directly and DM me. I think that's pretty much it for today. Like I think we've run through the whole thing here. Let me just look at the proposals, but I think that's our whole
I'm
meeting
seeing
for
a.
today.
I saw in the landlord's chat. He's not here in the DAO chat, but there's someone saying that he's just voicing concerns if we come back to Yannick's proposal about landlords will be charged. This is his exact phrasing here. I'll drop the link for those of you that have the landlord role. You can see it here. But I guess he's worried that landlords will be charged for kinship from our gotchis every time for channeling our own lands, as per a GIP 53. He's wondering why is there an option for charging 2 kinship only? Was that part of the? Was there any consideration about the 4? Why it was 4 versus 3 versus 2?
Yes, as I thought about it, it seems like during the bear market we should cut, basically do the same U.S. central bank is doing. We should cut our kinship more, but that was one reason, and second reason was I believed from my we inflated kinship too much, so that was my reasoning. But if we see a good effect and or it will be too much, we can always vote to cut it to 2. But as I see it right now, it's we should go a little bit more aggressive, especially because this change will affect will still take long time to work out. So I think we should cut it a little bit more at first.
Then Zico's got a take here. If
Yeah.
Yannick's proposal goes through, we need an option to turn off channeling for borrowed gotchis. You don't want to lend out your gotchis to someone to empty their reservoirs, and then they can channel your gotchi as well.
Yes, that's LP one also. I understand this downside. Now you have to think about your kinship. You care about it. Previously, it wasn't deducted, so that's only downside. Consider your kinship when you do your lending borrowing business. That's all. And maybe we need some. Maybe we need some access. One more access right to the our framework, if there will be a need in market.
Dr. Wagme is a another point here. He says a major con to the kin proposal is that it may disincentivize building. He says in my case I'll rotate channeling gotchis and won't need as many high level altars. You know, in your opinion,
I think it's
what's your
wrong.
take on that?
I think it's wrong. Farming is more precious now, so you actually need higher level altars to make it as efficient as possible. And in a matter of rotate channeling gotchas, what does it mean? Like people will know they will lose kinship on landing, so landing market will be changed also. So it's actually also very interesting, because in a way we will have some kind of kinship. People will sell kinship through the landing. So I don't think people will sell it too much.
You're kind of saying the lending market will become like a kinship market, like like you're lending your gachi for it to be channeled, so that'll come with a certain price because you're now losing kinship.
Yes, it's something. It's one of the options. You can lend out your gotchas and like lose, like sell all kinship. Uh, and also in a way, kinship is acting like a buffer. So you can think about it like this: a buffer of your farming potential. So if you don't need this potential, you can lend it out every day and lose 4 kinship, 2 kinship per day, and lose it to the zero.
Interesting. Yeah, I think it's important to emphasize that you're looking at this kinship proposal as a lever more than a fixed in stone suggestion. Like for now, you're saying, as this proposal is right now, you're suggesting -4 kinship, but in the future, it could be -2 kinship or even -1 kinship, depending on what the market can, what the macro conditions are, what the market conditions are. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that was the
Yeah.
simplest change possible to see how the how this feature will work, and if in the future we can change it as DAO, we can use it as our one of our tools to kinda or encourage people to stay low and build, or if we see spending is too much, we can kinda like protect our community for aping in or aping out too much. But I see it as a buffer, as economy buffer.
Interesting. And I think when this proposal, when this kinship gets the kinship burn is implemented, that we can have an ongoing conversation around the effects of it and also make any adjustments that are necessary, right? That's another point to make as well. Okay. Do we have any other questions regarding the kinship proposal? Just looking at the comments here. Some
For as
people
far
are
as
asking.
guild channeling,
Yeah, I was gonna go ahead.
I don't think that I'd have to go check the Bible on that, but I don't think that in the original Bible we did talk about like sacrificing kinship for normal channeling. But I think for guild channeling, I don't think that we were removing kinship for that in the original doc. So don't think that would be affected.
Awesome. Okay. So that is the kinship core prop there. Uh, have a look at it. What is it looking like right now? I think you still have 7 days left. It's a fresh one. So there are two proposal, or no, you did, I think you did delete the other one. Yeah. So yeah, there's just the one proposal. I get 53, 7 days on that. All right. I actually also see that there's a Rarity Farming Season 5. Do you have some time to discuss that, Coder Dan?
I do. Before that, I did want to. Let's Go Bankless might kill me, but he's been working on a dashboard for Dune Analytics, so I'm just gonna share this dashboard. I believe it's up to date and like accurate. We are still doing final QA on it, but I believe it's pretty close to accurate. So what you're looking at here is percentage of FUD spent versus minted. So when you look at the ones on the left there, it's basically the ratio. So if it says 44, that means that 44% of that Alchemica was spent compared to how much was minted that day. And then if you go on the other side, the circulating supply, it's showing you basically the supply of the tokens and how much they're increasing every day.
That's so funny. Okay, I'm gonna share this Dune Analytics dashboard also that FIFO built,
Nice.
Gachi
Yeah,
Farming.
everyone's been doing
It's
this.
basically what you have there, Coder Dan, but the inverse. It actually shows the other way around. So if you look at it,
Yeah.
It's literally the charts you have there, but upside down. It shows it a different, same thing, showing it the same way, but just the two things flipped around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a few boards like this now. We're gonna have to consolidate at some point.
Yeah, I'm wondering
But
if we
yeah,
need to have some kind of document that just tracks all the tools or something, you know. We have a lot of them. You're right. We have a lot of them at this point. Very
so yeah, it's
interesting though.
pretty interesting to see. Especially FOMO has been obviously the most utilized in the past couple weeks. And then the other ones, yeah, it's so this is a good way we can start to visualize the effect of these proposals and see if they actually are making a dent in the increase in circulating supply over time.
Yeah, this is a great tool. All right, awesome. Should we talk about Rarity Farming Season 5 since there is a core prop on it now? Uh, we had a discussion around it during SIG prop phase, but I think the feelings in the DAO at that time, I kind of and amongst our group here at least, the 55 of us in here, was that maybe it might be better to hold off on rarity farming at the moment. It might be good to have those funds in the DAO treasury for to have survivability. If things do take a even worse turn down the road, the DAO would have funds to continue funding either operations or other projects. The counter argument to that was there are a lot of funds in the DAO treasury that are not being utilized, and because they're not being utilized, they should be given to asset holders. I think for rarity farming rewards. So those are kind of like the two arguments. Um, yeah, it's kind of like this proposal is saying if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So just keep um, giving out rewards, I guess. Uh, do we have any comments, questions on this? How do people feel about it? Right now, it only has 1 out of 9 million votes, so it hasn't met quorum. There's three options here. Basically, yes, have Rarity Farming Season 5, no, don't have it, or yes with different params. So uh, we could have a conversation around that if we think this is something the DAO would want to do right now, or if we'd want to do some modified version of this of rarity farming. I think Coder Dan, you had a really good question last conversation we had around this. Something like, if we're going to be doing a rarity farming season, we should be going in with an intention of why we're doing it. Like, what is it attempting to achieve? And so I think we should ask ourselves here too and say, for this rarity farming season 5, what are we as a DAO trying to achieve with giving out these funds? Historically, it was like to incentivize, uh, bringing players onto the protocol, bringing collectors onto the protocol, incentivizing buying higher tier assets because they're correlated to higher rewards. Um, so I'm kind of curious to know actually what people think. What are we trying to achieve here? What's the goal of Rarity Farming Season 5?
It's kind of like you'd think it'd be like a marketing opportunity more than anything else. And it seems like the macro environment would lead more to like investing in building and taking opportunity of things that are easier to do when it's less chaotic, as opposed to like marketing when there's maximum market participants and interest. I don't know. It just seems like a mistimed opportunity to me personally.
Hmm.
That's just my thought on it. That's how.
Yeah, of course.
Acteon says it's not that all idle funds should be given away.
Yeah, I would argue that Aavegotchi was not built on rarity farming. I think rarity farming was one of the incentives, pretty strong incentive, but I don't know about that.
Yeah, I mean, it might have been the thing that like that was it tipped up people, a lot of people over in like the beginning, but at the end of the day, it was more like the promise of a whole platform, a whole game, like a whole token ecosystem that can scale and be built with like other games. Like there's already communities coming out building other games on top of the assets that, like I'm sure not all of them will succeed, but I mean it's happening already. So
Yeah, I don't think the assets are going to zero. Even if we completely took away rarity farming, which would not, but I don't think even if we did, I don't think Aavegotchis are going to go to zero. There's a ton of other utility beyond just getting ghost payouts.
Having the asset itself is valuable. I mean, if you play, I always like to compare this to a traditional Web 2 game. You own nothing. You own absolutely nothing. Even the item that's on your screen, you don't own it. So I just owning the asset in itself as intrinsic value. Mikey J had this conversation.
I tend to agree with Webb that rarity farming it's a big payout and it is marketing worthy. Now is not really a great time in the macro environment to do a bunch of active marketing. So it's really just going to be being paid out to OG Gotchi Gang, which is, I think that's the intention of the proposal.
Yeah, and I mean, psychologically, the last rarity farming in the time before, the price of Ghost was a lot higher. So psychologically, when you're getting your rarity farming rewards, it actually felt like a fairly large reward that you were getting. I don't know if that same feeling is going to be there, and I think that was part of the excitement around rarity farming is getting such large rewards. Like, are people going to be that excited about rarity farming this time around? I mean, uh, with the fiat value of what you're going to get is going to be lower anyway. So like, I'm like, why are you getting excited about that when you could take that ghost? We could fund a whole bunch of projects right now. The DTF has funded a whole bunch of stuff. There's people that actually want to create stuff for the DAO, whether it's an experience or something that's going to make this protocol generate real value, and giving the funds just as a player reward. I don't think is it just enough to say, yeah, let's just keep doing it because we've been doing it.
Yeah, that's literally what the proposal says. If it's not broken, don't fix. Like, it doesn't need to be fixed. I did not like that language at all. I think that's. I already made my thoughts vocal in the DAO with Cookie Thief and how he didn't include himself as an author and kind of the language. But we are respecting the DAO's the SIG prop, upgrading it to a core prop. So yeah, everyone go and vote on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. All right.
He did agree that the actual season would not happen until the Forge was deployed, or January 2023.
So I guess the idea there would be the Forge would release, and then people would have, I guess, there'd be a mutual incentive there. Hopefully, that people would be incentivized to like create items in the Forge for rarity farming. That would be the Mark. Yeah, you have an interesting idea there. An opt into rarity farming.
I think he means if you're not an active player, you wouldn't receive it. Like if maybe you haven't done something with your gotchi in like the last 90 days or something. I don't know how he would frame that. People might just be AFK.
Mm-hmm. So 1.5 million ghost from the rewards pool that'd be funded by the DAO Treasury. What what I'm curious to know what percentage of the DAO Treasury that is, you know, in terms of how much we're spending in a percentage term. I don't have it handy, but you know, like how would we feel if we did, let's say we did 2 or 3 more rarity farming seasons and the treasury is kind of running low at that point. Do you have other ways
It's
of
about
raising?
it's about 5 million ghost currently.
Yeah.
We should also take into consideration the length of the cycle. So last time, from bottom to top, it took 4.5 years, and it safely assumes that like it will probably be around the same time, and we are like 1.5 year in only. So we must calculate wisely. Just we have 3 more years here until the next stop, roughly. So
Okay,
it will
yeah.
be we can spend money. We should spend money wisely.
Yeah, I mean, good point. So, I mean, let's say we do a rarity farming season every, what are we doing it right now? Every 4 months, something like that, 3 or 4 months. So that leaves, if you have 6 million ghosts, I think that's what you said. Do you say 6 million or 5 million?
Currently it's 5 million, and then
5
Gotchiverse
million.
rewards has, I think, it's about 3.
So you have probably about between 3 and 4 rarity farming seasons. So with what Yannick's saying, if you're in if you're in a bear market, year and a half, worst case scenario, historically, it's been about 4 years. We're not even halfway. But if we were to do 3 more rarity farming seasons, we would run out of funds in less than a year, basically, in the DAO treasury, without having any additional funds coming in. So that's just something to think about. Is our runway is going to just get shorter and shorter if we just keep giving out money for rarity farming. So that's another thing to
Maybe we should
think about.
attach it, this rarity farmings to some events, use it as promotion to events which are burning mechanics, for example, arena. So if we will have arena, we will test arena, and there will be a clear way to burn Alchemica. We can do rarity farming and attach it to arena. It will be more beneficial.
I do
Yeah.
like the idea of having rarity farming in the future, potentially moving towards arena fighting rewards. But we do have to be careful that if it's too heavily incentivized, people will start training bots to fight in the arena, which they might be doing that anyway. But it would probably aggravate it a bit. But it's a cool idea for sure.
We have the Forge coming out. We got the Arena coming out. We should be thinking, in my opinion, like just my opinion, we should be thinking about how to refresh rarity farming, make it something new, and make it something strategic. So
We need competition. We need more
yeah,
guilds versus guilds, more competitiveness.
yeah. I mean, we should ask ourselves also, what are we trying to be? Are we trying to be a play to earn game where your participation in the protocol is so you can earn money? Or are we trying to be a play and earn game where you're actually playing the game primarily because it's a enjoyable game, has become an enjoyable game, with the side effect that if you are talented or skilled enough, that you'll actually earn something. Like you know, those in my mind, those are the kind of 2 different paths you can take with this sort of thing. It can be either a hyper financialized thing where everything has a financial incentive attached, and you're expecting a reward correlated to your participation,
There
or
is
it's
actually
something that's. Go ahead.
there is one more way. You can pay for development because we are in such early stage. Like it will take still like few more years to have a decent real-time, very interesting PvP challenging one. So at this stage, it is probably the more beneficial not to pay to the players, but pay to the developers. And if we have some APIs in Gotchiverse, we can actually we have some plugin system which will be built on top of those APIs, and people can experiment and imagine you can build some autocaster or on top of your Aavegotchi. That would be interesting, and you basically receive free development and changes these plugins. If when you find a nice plugin, you can always backport them into the main client. That's the way that Forest is doing, and it's very beneficial. Because at this stage, we need players, but we cannot support a lot of players, so there is no need to actually build a lot of players. We need a few core players, and having developers is much more beneficial.
Yeah, focus on value creation. I think that makes a lot of sense.
The DAO has a lot of funds right now. We're in a bear market. There are probably devs out there that are looking for work that would be happy to get on board with a well thought out project. So I know the DAO in general has been very receptive. The DTF also has been very receptive to funding really good ideas. So I kind of like that. I like that point. But like Coder Dan said, it's a core prop. Go get your votes in, and we can discuss it next week. I think that wraps up our, topics for today. Zombie Shepherd, if you don't mind dropping the RSS feed link, and No Future, if you don't mind dropping in, well, actually, you'll be dropping clips throughout the week of our DAO meeting here today. And are there any topics that we might want to quickly discuss? Any remaining hanging questions that anybody might have?
Just looking at the board, the DAO here. That was the main ones. At some point, we'll probably want to have a final conversation about cartridges and some of the different parameters. But I probably won't have that ready by next week. So maybe sometime in December, we'll have a conversation about the cartridge system and how we would like that to be implemented, or whether or not it should be implemented. But I'll leave that for a couple more weeks. We got something. Hopefully, we're gonna have some good action for you guys early next month on something that you've wanted for a long time. So can't give too much alpha, but it's gonna be awesome.
Right on. Looking forward to that. And for those of you who'd like to get a midweek update, I do a DAO summary / midweek update here on the Substack. You can subscribe there, go directly to your inbox.
Very cool.
Looking at Yannick's Dark Forest plugins. That's really cool. All right. This was another great DAO meeting. Covered a lot of topics here today, covered a lot of proposals. And if you want to catch up, again, look out for No Futures clips this week or the RSS feed from Zombie Shepherd. For all 50 of you in here, 55 of you in here, thank you for coming out here on Sunday, hanging out with us here with Aavegotchi DAO. And we will see you here, I think, on Tuesday. No Future, you said you have a Twitter space. And we also do one on Wednesday, I believe, for Gotchi Space. So keep an eye out for that. And I hope you all have a good weekend and a good rest of your week.
Yeah, thanks, sir, for hosting. Thanks, everyone, for coming out. Enjoy your Sunday. Peace.
Later, friends.
Everyone make sure to vote.
That's right.
Good night.
Good night.